Hello everybody. This is Gerald here, owner of G5 Productions, and I'm excited to talk to you tonight because I want to address something as it relates to business. So this was birthed not out of just conversations amongst DJs, but just to let you know up front, a lot of the conversations about this particular subject is with DJs. But I also get to talk to other business owners. That's one thing about me. I'm not so impartial to the DJ business per se. I just like to engage all kinds of businesses because one, there's a lot of things that are common to all of us. There's stuff that we all have to deal with, like taxes and bookkeeping and things like that, administrative stuff. So I'm always curious as how are other people doing it? Are they more successful? That way I can learn, or I will share some things with them. So without further ado, I really just want to talk about the title of this video, which is church versus nonprofit versus low budget versus no budget versus your business. And the reason why I feel like I have to talk about it, and I am bold enough to talk about it, because one, I have lots and lots of personal experience with this topic about business and all of the 501c3, I think they call it, companies out there, and also church. If you're the business owner, I want to first give you some perspective. I want you to understand that churches and all nonprofit organizations, they have ministry needs. They also have community service needs. They have a mission, something that they are trying to accomplish for the benefit of other people. And I'll put it like that. So just think to yourself that those kind of organizations, they have the idea of every dollar they can save is a dollar that they can use towards their goal. So that's how you got to think about it as a business person, because that's a lot of people's calling, to start that kind of organization to be able to help somebody else. So they do, in my experience, depend a lot on sponsorship, deals, discounts, and freebies. And freebies are always definitely preferred by nonprofit organizations, churches, and whatnot. That's why they are usually approach businesses that way. So let me give you another perspective. It's a matter of the heart when you have to deal with churches, nonprofit organizations, right? So it's really about what are you feeling, with that when you have to deal with them. So my goal here tonight is to give you some effective ways you could deal with churches, nonprofit organizations, and stuff like that. And more so, I definitely want to talk about if you are the member of that organization and how you deal with it, or at least give you my perspective and how I deal with it. So let's first start with the business owner. So I gave you guys a spiel up front about perspective on behalf of the nonprofit organizations and the church and their mode and their motive. And I do want to emphasize that this video is not a negative beat up people or nothing like that. It's really always positive with me to give everybody just some good tools they may be able to use. So we already addressed my spiel about the nonprofits and the churches and how they approach you and how they're really trying to save money because they have ministry needs or community service needs that they're trying to accomplish. So of course they're going to want free or low budget or low cost vendors to help them accomplish that mission. So let's be fair to them with that. It is what it is. Now from the business owner perspective, that's where we have this scale type of thing, right? If you're on the consumer side, the church, the nonprofit organization, or the customer, then of course you're trying to keep your spending very low or your costs very low. And if you are on the business side of the scale, you are trying to keep your profit as high as you can get it, right? And your discounts as low as you can get it. So now you have this balance game you have to play between all the nonprofit organizations and your business. And I think a lot of people maybe are frustrated in business with these type of organizations because they perhaps may not fully understand, what the organization is about and what they're trying to accomplish. Or perhaps they take those kind of gigs and later feel resentment or frustrated because they took the gig and then, they may feel like now I got taken advantage of because I, volunteered or to, agreed to do this job. And they just pile on more stuff they want you to do, right? And I've been there and done that too. There's been plenty of times where, a nonprofit organization or a church asked me to do a job, like, hey, I need you to DJ for, a couple of hours, right? And they approach you like that sometimes, a couple of hours. So at best, I'm thinking 2 hours, a couple, 2 people, 2 hours. So maybe 3, right? Let's give it that. But then it turns into, you get there and it's like, yeah, we're gonna run it to 5 hours, or it goes over. And I've had experience where sometimes I was gigging for events like at churches, and I'm thinking I'm on a clock for maybe 3 hours, and then it turns into, now the Holy Ghost took over and we're getting into 4 hours. So what do? Are you just gonna cut the sound? You know what I mean? And so I had to learn over time and through experience the more effective way to communicate with the organizations, because let's face it, not everybody is a good communicator. And it's easy for 2 people to do business, especially in this situation with low budget nonprofits, or just any customer that's on a budget. It's easy to miscommunicate, because you assume you're only going to do this, and the customer assumes you're going to do much more. So you have to have that conversation up front, and that is my thing that I want to teach you. So when I deal with nonprofit organizations and churches, for example, I'm gonna just put it out there up front. I've dealt with everything from the small startup church who, they don't have a professional sound person or a lot of experience with music or sound, right? And I've done help some for free, but that is my own free will and my own free choice. I will go in there. There's nothing for me to take some time, go set up a system. I'm helping out a ministry that I'm not even a part of, right? So that's my, my giveaway, that I'll do something like that, my sort of community service, right, to help an organization like that. However, I don't let that get out of hand. There's always all kinds of people who would call upon me to do that. So if you are the business, and I know DJs get that a lot, if you are the business owner, that's where you have to use wisdom and you have to regulate, right? Because let's just face it, like especially for DJs, if honestly we were to actually appeal to everyone who call us to do a low budget or small paying gig for the sake of a nonprofit or a ministry, we wouldn't make much money. And the thing is, we are a for-profit business, so our goal is always to make money, period. We do want to give good customer services. We do want to give the best goods and services possible to all of our customers, but make no mistake about it, we are a for-profit business, so our mentality is different from the nonprofit business. Right. But I think from time to time, in all fairness, we've all been there, help out an organization like that, and it does feel good to give back. So there are some gigs that I personally take on to help with. I serve in my church for one, so that's free. I don't say, hey, pay me for my service. I show up, give my time, my talents, my gift, and I help. I put my hands to the plow. So that's one. But outside of my church, I deal with other amazing nonprofit organizations, right? I deal with Aya, I deal with Lavina, I help out Rod, and there are several others, right? But at some point, I have to regulate that. There are too many other opportunities out there for me and my organization to help me accomplish my goal, right? So I have a different mission from the nonprofit organization, right? Their mission may be community service and, helping others, through vendors and people who will help them and sponsor and stuff like that. But my goal is, I have other people that work for me and I want to get them as much money to help them with their endeavors as possible. So my goal is to make money, not do all the gigs for free. Otherwise I am no longer a business. I'm more like a hobbyist with a lot of talent and helping other people. So if I had to give you some just straight up non-confusing advice, I would say this, and especially to the DJs, but really to all businesses, put a plan of action together that will regulate the nonprofit, the church, and this and that. Have clear communication on what you will do and for how much. And I definitely, regardless, recommend a contract. That's gold for G-Fire. And it has nothing to do with, honestly, trust or anything like that. It's really a matter of how I conduct my business. I understand that you are a nonprofit and your word is good and all that and the other. However, I am a business person, an established legal state, government, and all that recognized tax-paying business. So I need to keep my books straight. That's one way to help you regulate what your obligations are to the customer and what your customer obligations are to you. So when you're dealing with nonprofit, just be upfront about, hey, listen, my understanding is you need me to do job X with this amount of time and this amount of equipment or goods or service, and here's your price. Anything after that, I am going to charge you more at full price of the add-ons. That's how I handle nonprofits. So, and there have been plenty of times where, hey, we did a contract and it's for a couple of hours, and the basic DJ pack, and then it turns into, hey, now we have 3 people speaking. Can you bring extra mics? I sure can. I charge $50 extra per mic as per our website listing. That regulates. Because if you don't do that as a business owner, you'll find yourself, you can fool yourself all you want, but sometimes you will find yourself in resentment because you may do it just to get it done, but you'll feel used. You'll feel like you were taken advantage of. I'm going to turn the conversation back now towards the nonprofit organization, right? So I'm always lobbying on behalf of the business owners out there, but on the nonprofit organization side, you too have to understand and be a bit more realistic about what you're asking businesses for. There are businesses who are considered sole proprietors or small business. Even some LLCs are considered small business. But corporations are different. So when you think big business, think of people like Home Depot and HEB and very large companies. So they can give maybe more in proportion to their income versus the DJ by himself or herself. They maybe only say, hey, if I got bills and I'm a full-time DJ, there's an amount of money that I need to sustain life for me and my family. So I can only give so much of myself and so much breaks before I start getting in the red and underneath. So nonprofit organizations and churches, I encourage you to understand that too. And here's what I have to say specifically to the church, and respectfully, please understand this is with all love and humility and respect. Lots of people will support church. It's a team effort. There's a pastor, there's ministers and elders and all that, and it's a team effort, and they do depend heavily on volunteers and people who just want to help put their hand to the plow. But when it comes to business, lots of people supports ministry. So ministry needs to understand, as you have needs and stuff you want people to do, there's people in the church who also have business. And everybody can't just keep giving everything for free for the sake of, God's gonna bless you and this and that and other. We're already blessed, and I don't want to get into the whole religious thing in the scriptures and stuff like that, because I can certainly go there. But what I'm saying is, understand that too. Like, we have businesses that we have to run, because like you gotta keep the church lights on. DJs and other businesses have to keep their lights on at home and stuff like that too. For the nonprofit organizations, I know you usually approach businesses with your spiel and your sales pitch or your whatever. You tell us what you're trying to accomplish. And again, you have to be reasonable for what you're asking, and it is what it is. So DJs, I hope this video is helpful to you. Other businesses, I hope this video is also helpful to you. I am saying this with love, respect, and I'm being 100% open that if in order for us to work together as businesses and nonprofit organizations, clear communication up front, I think will solve a lot of issues and frustrations. And if you are a for-profit business, it is okay sometimes to say no. I get that a lot. I get so many. More than I can handle. I think for every single weekend in a year, I think there's always an opportunity for me to break away from business and go do that gig at a low budget or no budget opportunity. But again, that's not going to work for me, and I understand and know that because I am a for-profit business. My goal in business is to make money, right? I have things that I'm trying to accomplish personally. Not just for me or my family, but for the people who work with me. There are things that pass through this company for the benefit of other people too. So that's my spiel for today. Again, I hope everything was helpful. You guys, listen, I love y'all. I want you to do well in life. Go out there and get it. but let's work together. Let's, communicate and have an understanding of, our goals, and I think we could work something out together. All right. But at G-Fire, just so you all know, we do support the church. We do support nonprofit organizations, but at some point there is a limit, and after that limit, we got to charge. You can't pay. I respectfully understand, but it is what it is. So you all have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Be cool.